Everyone loves Steve Harrington. He's charming, he's funny. He had the best character arc in the show. But there's one character nobody talks about. One character who's actually the most realistic person in Stranger Things. And that's Jonathan Byers. Because while everyone else is fighting monsters and saving the world, Jonathan is just trying to survive. And that's what makes him real. Let's start with season 1. Jonathan is 17 years old. His dad left. His mom works 2 jobs and barely keeps the lights on. And Jonathan? He's not the kid, he's the parent. He wakes Will up for school. He makes him breakfast. He drives him everywhere. He protects him from bullies. He's not Will's brother. He's Will's father. And psychologically, this is called parentification. It's when a child is forced to take on adult responsibilities because the actual adults can't. And it destroys childhood. Because Jonathan never got to be a kid. He never got to be reckless or stupid or carefree. He had to grow up at 12 years old. And that's why he's so serious, so quiet, so uncomfortable around people his own age. Because he's not 17, he's 30. And nobody sees it. Now let's talk about his outsider status. Jonathan doesn't have friends. He eats lunch alone. He takes photos by himself. He listens to The Clash on his Walkman while everyone else is at parties. And people assume he's a loner by choice, but he's not. He's a loner because he doesn't have time for friends. He works after school to help pay bills. He takes care of Will. He helps Joyce when she's falling apart. He doesn't go to parties because he's tired. He doesn't talk to people because he has nothing in common with them. Because while they're worried about prom and football, Jonathan is worried about keeping his family alive. And that's not tragic in a dramatic way. It's tragic in a real way. Because that's what poverty does. It steals your youth. And Jonathan lost his before he even knew he had it. Season 1 happens. Will disappears. And Jonathan doesn't fall apart like Joyce. He doesn't get emotional. He just does what he always does. He takes action. He searches the woods. He teams up with Nancy. He fights the Demogorgon. And people call him a hero. But Jonathan doesn't feel like a hero. He feels like he failed. Because in his mind, it was his job to protect Will, and he didn't. And that guilt doesn't go away, even when Will comes back. Even when everyone celebrates, Jonathan still blames himself. Because that's what parentified kids do. They take responsibility for things that were never their fault. Now let's jump to season 2. Will is possessed. Joyce is spiraling. And Jonathan? He's holding everything together. He's taking Will to doctors. He's calming Joyce down. He's working at the photo lab to keep money coming in. And on top of all that, he's falling in love with Nancy. But notice how Jonathan approaches that relationship. He doesn't chase her. He doesn't make grand gestures. He just shows up. He listens. He respects her. Because Jonathan doesn't know how to be reckless with love. He only knows how to be responsible. And that's why his relationship with Nancy works. Because she's not looking for a fantasy. She's looking for someone real. Someone who sees her as an equal. Someone who doesn't try to save her, but fights alongside her. And Jonathan is that person, because he's been fighting his whole life. Season 3. Jonathan and Nancy work together at the Hawkins Post. And this is where Jonathan's realism becomes painful. Because Nancy wants to chase the story. She wants to expose corruption. She wants to be a hero journalist. But Jonathan, he just wants to keep his job. He tells Nancy to stop pushing. He says they'll get fired. He says they need the money. And people call him a coward. But he's not a coward. He's practical. Because Nancy has a safety net. Her family is wealthy. If she loses her job, she'll be fine. But Jonathan? If he loses his job, his family loses their house. That's the difference between privilege and poverty. Nancy can afford to take risks. Jonathan can't. And that tension almost destroys their relationship. Because Nancy sees Jonathan as giving up, but Jonathan sees Nancy as naive. And they're both right. That's what makes it realistic. Most shows would make this a clear villain and hero, but Stranger Things says no. Sometimes there's no right answer. Sometimes you're just two people from different worlds trying to make it work. And sometimes that's not enough. Season 4. Jonathan is in California. He's smoking weed with Argyle. He's avoiding college applications. And people say he's wasting his potential. But here's what they don't understand. Jonathan is burned out. He's been the responsible one his entire life. And now, he's finally breaking. The weed isn't rebellion, it's escape. Because Jonathan doesn't know who he is outside of being the caretaker. He doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know how to dream. Because dreaming is a luxury, and Jonathan's never had that luxury. And the college conflict with Nancy? That's the realest thing Stranger Things has ever done. Because Nancy wants Jonathan to go to Emerson with her. She wants them to have a future together. But Jonathan knows he can't. He knows his family needs him. He knows he can't afford it. He knows he'll just hold Nancy back. But he doesn't tell her. He keeps it inside. He lies about the application. Because he's too ashamed to admit that he's not enough. And that's not romantic. That's not heroic. That's just sad. That's what poverty does to relationships. It makes you feel like you're not worthy of the people you love. Now let's talk about why Jonathan matters. In a show full of superpowers and monsters, Jonathan is the reminder that real life doesn't stop. Bills still need to be paid. Families still fall apart. Kids still have to grow up too fast. And nobody's coming to save you. You just keep going. Jonathan doesn't get the big speeches. He doesn't get the hero moments. He just shows up every single time. He saves Will in Season 1. He burns the Mind Flayer out in Season 2. He fights the Mind Flayer in Season 3. He rescues Mike and Will in Season 4. And nobody thanks him. Because that's his job. That's what he's always done. And here's my Season 5 prediction. Jonathan won't get a happy ending. He won't go to college with Nancy. He won't become a famous photographer. He'll stay in Hawkins. He'll keep working. He'll keep taking care of his family. And that's not a tragedy. That's reality. Because most people don't get dream endings. Most people just do their best and hope it's enough. And Jonathan Byers represents all of them. The kids who became adults too soon. The people who sacrificed their dreams for their families. The ones who never got to be selfish. The ones who keep going even when nobody's watching. Jonathan isn't the most popular character. He's not the funniest or the coolest. But he's the most real. And in a show about monsters, that's the bravest thing of all.